Hello, this is Peter, and you are watching Time Traveler's Handbook. Happy Death Day to You came out this month, and I absolutely loved it as a follow-up to the first movie. Let's break down what happened. If you haven't watched my previous video on Happy Death Day, or if you haven't seen the new movie, please go watch it now if you want to avoid spoilers. First off, we have two new loops that happen during this film. The first loop has Ryan in Tree's place, restarting the day every time he dies. This is actually a lot more complex than the second loop, so I'll get back to the details for this loop later. The important thing to know is that Tree discovers that Ryan has built a time machine that was built to slow down time, but has accidentally caused the loops to begin. Ryan turns it on again to attempt to stop them. Instead, it sends Tree back to the start of the loop, this time with a twist. This time, she's in an alternate universe where almost everything is the same, but some key details have changed. Lori is sleeping with Greg, Danielle is nice and dating Carter, and Tree's mom is still alive. These three things have a rippling effect on the whole loop, resulting in an unknown killer and new inner conflicts for Tree to confront. The first loop that Tree goes through isn't the same as starting a normal time loop where she spends 1 to 2 loops being confused about what's going on. Since she's been in a time loop before, she doesn't go through the deja vu phase this time, but rather the first loop is a combination of a nightmare loop and what I'll call a reverse deja vu loop. Rather than seeing things and noticing how they are the same as before, in a reverse deja vu loop, the protagonist sees things and notices how they are different. Tree spends a loop trying to digest all the things that are the same and different from the previous loop, then manages to run off the roof of the hospital. Then she starts loop 2, which is her first plan loop. Tree and Ryan's team come up with a plan to attempt different algorithms in order to get Ryan's time machine to stop the loop. She has to die over and over again while they attempt to get this right, so she tries electrocuting herself in the bathtub, poisoning herself with motor oil, skydiving, jumping into a tree shredder, and jumping off the clock tower once again. It's implied that there are more loops than this, as there are dozens of algorithms and only one can be tried per loop, but we only see these 5 deaths before we reach the first setback loop. This is very similar to the previous movie, where she passes out upon coming out of the loop and she's getting weaker with every loop. This time she manages to kill one of the killers, Toombs, but fails to kill the second one, the one that released Toombs. She triggers an explosion and starts loop number 8. In this loop, they finally succeed at finding the correct algorithm, but a computer virus wipes all of Ryan's code and he has to reprogram the whole thing. This is the point in which Tree has to make a decision between the two universes. She can either stay in this universe where her mother is alive and she's become attached to her again, but Carter, the love of her life, is dating someone else, or she can go back to her original universe where she is dating Carter and her mother is dead. She really struggles with this because she knows that losing her mother was one of the hardest things she had to do in her original universe, and she doesn't want to go through that again. After a big heart-to-heart with her mother, she realizes that she can't stay in the past forever, and she's going to have to move on eventually. After all, every day is a chance to be a better person, and it's never more true than it is in the time loops. Tree has to take a chance and follow her heart, and she decides to return home to her universe. Once she's finished her heart-to-heart with her mom, she turns on the news to find out that Carter and Lori have been murdered, and if Ryan ends the loop now, then they're gone forever, with no option to try again. This is because one can only travel back in time to some time after the machine was turned on for the first time. So if this loop were closed, everything in the past is now permanent. She makes off with her dad's car and rams into the electrical grid, stopping the machine and ending her life once again. Here we are at loop 9, and this is what we can finally call the perfect loop. In the previous movie, we had a similar beat, but it turned out to be fruitless because the killer wasn't Toombs like she thought, and thus the loop continued. In this perfect loop, she makes amends with the people that she had wronged in another life, because she knew that she was going back to her original universe now, and she had to get these things off her chest. She talks to Lori and says she wishes things were better between them. She talks to Danielle, but backs away when she finds out she's cheating on Carter, and she talks to her mom, saying one final goodbye that she never had the chance to say before. Of course, it wouldn't be a Happy Death Day movie if they didn't try to flip it all on your head, so upon attempting to activate the machine one more time, the dean of the science college that has been persistently trying to deactivate Ryan's project finally succeeds in taking the time machine away from them and locking it up. I mean, Carter literally says setback, so I guess it can't be anything other than a setback loop now. They make a plan to steal back the time machine, and they succeed, But since Ryan needs time to set it up and the murderer is about to strike again, Tree runs to the hospital to save her friend. She gets there just in time to kill Toombs, and then she unmasks the true killer. It's Greg, who has been trying to kill Laurie after his wife found out about the affair. Through a wild sequence of events, Tree ends up stabbing Greg with a screwdriver, saving everyone that mattered. I mean, Laurie did get shot, but she turned out alright. As Ryan activates the machine, Tree and Carter fall in love all over again, and Tree finally returns to her universe. The time loop is officially over. Now that we've covered the meat of the movie, we're going to talk about the first 15 minutes, where Ryan is stuck in a time loop himself. Very early on, it's revealed that the killer is another version of Ryan, who was sent back to the past to stop Ryan from turning on the machine and screwing things up. It only takes Ryan dying one time to turn on the machine and send Tree to an alternate dimension. When Tree gets back and the time loop ends, she returns to the exact moment that she left, but things have changed once again. Let's explain all this. First, let's get some things straight. The home universe, the one that is in the start of the movie, is Universe 0. It's the prime universe, the starting point, and the destinations the character wants to reach. Ryan 0 resides in this universe. Then there is Universe 1, which is the universe that the killer Ryan comes from. We'll call him Ryan 1. Here's how it plays out. Something bad happens in Universe 1 that causes Ryan to want to go back in time and fix it. My guess is that Ryan turned on the machine, something disastrous and unexpected happens, and it's on Ryan 1 to fix it. This would explain the machine suddenly turning on in the middle of the night, as parallel universes may be able to trigger the time machine. Ryan 1 uses his machine to reset the day back to when the machine turns on for the first time. 12:01 a.m. on Monday the 18th, or possibly sometime after it, just not before it. It's really not clear when he comes out. Ryan 1 then dresses up in the baby mask and hunts down Ryan 0, ensuring that he doesn't make the same mistakes that he does. However, one factor that Ryan may not have considered is that Ryan 0 is now also stuck in a time loop, originating on Tuesday the 19th. We have no idea what causes this time loop, although it is entirely possible that Ryan 1 jumped back to that point, and that had the unintended side effect of trapping Ryan 0 in the loop. Thus we have a paradox. Because Ryan 1 came back to kill Ryan 0, Ryan 1 will either succeed at his goal and send Ryan 0 back to the start of the day, or Ryan 0 will start the machine and make the same mistake that Ryan 1 made. In either case, Ryan 0 always eventually starts the machine, so the very act of coming back in time to stop Ryan 0 from committing the act has caused the act to occur. That's a mouthful, but it gets better. We can see that Ryan 1 is not from the same universe that Tree goes to when the machine is turned on, so this is an entirely new universe that we will call Universe 2. When Tree returns from Universe 2, she enters a version of Universe 0 that has changed from when she left. First, Ryan 1 is gone, leading us to believe that Universe 1 can no longer exist, because it only existed for the purpose of Ryan 0 starting the machine. However, the events from before Ryan 0 started looping are the same as they were before, which means there is a period of time prior to the machine turning on that is completely unknown to us. Thus, we can't be in Universe 0 anymore, and the characters have entered a new universe, or Universe 3. Therefore, Universe 0 and Universe 1 are no longer connected to this world, and there are only two universes remaining. Universe 2, that Tree just came from, and Universe 3, the one that she lives in now. Anything could have happened during this period of time. It's just unknown what exactly happened, but probably what was happening is they were trying to restart the machine so that they could get Tree out of the loops. The thing I love about this movie is that it has taken Happy Death Day, a combination of Groundhog Day and murder, and added a side of Back to the Future Part 2, introducing parallel universes, or quantum cyclic dimensions, as they are called in the movie, to the classic time loop structure. The movie was able to explain the cause of the time loops from the original movie, and answers a lot of questions that the first movie left unanswered. The movie was also able to use the time loop to add to the character development of Tree in unique ways and strengthening the story as a whole. All in all, this movie is leaving me hoping for more fantastic and unique uses of time loops in film. I hope you enjoyed this movie as much as I did, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you would like to see more time loop analysis videos, don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out my Patreon if you want to support me directly as I grow my channel. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this movie. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you.